Very little fight in them. Didn't started the game okay, but nothing more than okay. And as soon as Dundee United got the first goal, those famous Celtic fight backs that have been coming over the past few weeks, I never looked like there was going to be any sign of one, to be perfectly honest with you. Celtic were just so poor today. So many poor performances all across the pitch. Absolutely no excuse.
Yeah, this looked, even before the game, you get a sense this is going to be a really difficult, tricky afternoon for Celtic. You look at the state of the pitch, right? I mean, they can't ignore it. The pitch is an absolute disgrace, by the way. But there's guys in that Celtic team who struggle to control a ball on a bowling green. So when you put that equation onto that pitch, you knew it was going to be Celtic like a struggling possession all season. They couldn't keep the ball again today. I mean, they had 70% possession of the ball in the first half. Did very little with it. Give it away all the time. Guys like your Dyson Maeders, your Yangs, even technicians like Hatate really struggled with the ball. Negrin really struggled with the ball at their feet. Gave it away all the time. Didn't create anything. United sat back, soaked it up, looked more dangerous in the break, and in the second half realised that this Celtic team was definitely taken, and they took their chance. And it looked like Celtic once they went to go behind, they never looked like coming back at the game. And if anything, United could have scored 3 or 4, to be honest, by the end. Really, really poor performance by Celtic. Looked like a team out of ideas, out of luck, down their dumps, and looked a bit finito, to be honest with you.
And the one thing I would add to that, to what Michael said, he said the team was down in the dumps and down and out. I got that feeling off the Celtic supporters today as well. I don't know what you thought, Mike, but usually with 15, 20 minutes to go in the situation that they're in, there's anger, people are raging, hanging over the thing, shouting, yelling. It's total resignation. They've seen it so many times, and I think they were just sitting there today thinking, this is as good as that team is. I mean, obviously there was a few at the full-time whistle, you get the obvious guys hanging over. But I'm just talking about with 10, 15 minutes to go, it was just nothing. The Celtic fans knew it was gone.
I don't know if Celtic fans are thinking at this point in time that this team cannot win this league. It can't. I mean, it's almost like if they won the league this year, it'd be almost like a kind of empty hollow victory. But this team is so bad that it's not going to get the ramifications or the change required if they can somehow stumble over the line. They don't deserve it this year. That's now 8 defeats. No team's ever lost 8 games and won a league. Since the days of the 3 points for a win job. So
it's the first time since John Barnes that a Celtic side has lost 8 league games in the same season.
Yeah, but in terms of actually winning the league with that kind of damage, I don't think it's happened since 3 points for a win.
No,
you're going back to the old days, and that's what I'm saying. A lot of fans, I mean, I can see at the end there's a bit of anger at the end, and they're kind of shouting and bawling kind of towards the kind of the board and all that stuff, as well as the squad. But I think Swanee says, I think a lot of them now are thinking this team is dying embers, really. They're still in the fight, and it's not over yet.
No, it's not.
It's not going to
point. Because Hearts and Rangers aren't
no, but
over.
Yeah, but it's almost a case of
3 bald men fighting over a comb.
Yeah, on a baldy pitch.
No, I was going to say, guys, I know he's need to get up the road fairly sharp, but just before we let you go, how was Martin after the game?
He looked pretty dejected. I mean, we just spoke to him in the gunnels at the stadium there, and he did look. He sounded kind of very down. He said the thing, we need to go and reinvent our mentality.
Reinvent our character.
Which
was his exact phrase.
I think the worry for him is that Celtic have been coming back. They've shown a lot of spirit, a lot of determination. But that seemed to disappear a bit today. And without that, there's not a lot left of this Celtic squad. There's not a lot of quality. I mean, he brings in somebody like Kelechi Iheanacho from nowhere today with Shankar ill. And it kind of summed it up with Iheanacho, because in the first half he gave him a focal point, some nice touches, links up well. But he links up well, spins, can't get in the box. He's not getting any pace or any kind of any engine. And then after 50 minutes, he's done. So you're like, that sums it up. The Celtic, they've got a bit. Sometimes anything they do have, it can't be maintained. There's nothing coming off the bench. At one point they had Hatate playing right back, then it was Yang playing right back, and it's like it's all a bit patchwork and muddled together. And
speaking to the local lads up here, one of the things they were saying is a lot of the goals that Dundee United have lost this season have been getting turned quite easily.
Yeah.
And you know, getting down the wide areas, getting them turned, getting balls flashed across the box, that's how it goes. As Michael said, any actuals coming short into the game, he's not got the legs to spin and bust in behind. And the two Celtic guys are doing nothing. So there's nothing there is no weapon for Celtic there. The biggest weapon that they need to hurt Dundee United, they don't have it.
That was my point.
We've been saying this for months.
Yeah, that was my point before you guys come on about, if you're going into a title fight, into the last sort of throes of it, what you need is at least one fit and firing striker. This is Martin. Nobody knows that better than Martin O'Neill. Martin O'Neill built his Celtic empire on the goals from Henrik Larsson, John Hartson and Chris Sutton. He's now trying to chop and change between Junior, Amadou, Franchara, Ian Acho, who, by the way, at 29, he shouldn't be in the state that he's in, but it's...
Michael used a great phrase prior to the game today when he was talking about the strikers. We were sitting together. The president says you just put the names into a tombola and the hat, and the names just come out. You've got absolutely no idea who's going to play up front. You've no idea from week to week.
I said the exact same thing before you come on. That's exactly it.
Yeah. No idea. Junior Adamu just appears. Where's Junior Adamu been?
And by the way, listen, you've got to give the guy a bit of sympathy. He's come in January and get chucked into the battle of a title race and all that stuff. Doesn't look up to it. The guy. I mean, he actually looks like a downgrade on Johnny Kenny, who got slaughtered the first half of the season. So you'd be better chucking on Johnny Kenny. So I mean, they've actually managed to go to January and make the team worse, which is something going given the first half of the season. Yeah. Listen, Martin had to kind of blunder his way on and try and get the best through this, but he's not got much to work with, really, has he?
What did you make of the Callum McGregor substitution? I guess that was just down to the medical department saying you can't give him the 90 minutes.
Yeah. Just fitness. He was fit. He had to really. He only trained for the first time on Friday, I think.
Yeah.
Got through a session Saturday. I mean, listen. I know that we're saying that it looks as though it's such a thin thread for Celtic now for it to be all over. If Callum McGregor had pulled up today and out for the rest of the season, it is all over. So no, I don't think there was any way we were going to go.
Yeah, I think Callum McGregor's a case of it's one game to the international break. Come back, give us an hour, and then we'll change it. He could probably have done with sitting out today and taking an extra week off. But he's got the international break to recover now, so I think that was the thinking.
And that's the problem. If Celtic have got a fire in midfield, Callum McGregor doesn't really need it. He can sit out.
Yeah.
But he just can't.
Yeah.
Celtic knew they were coming here today and they needed their captain, and he's having to play undercooked.
Yeah.
Because listen, how many times have we talked about Benjamin Negri? How many times? If he's not arriving late in the box into something, what else is happening?
Those guys, I mean, you don't like before. Negrin, Yang, and Dyson Maida. I mean, Dyson Maida, hasn't got the best first touch at the best times, right? But see out on that park. I mean, it was like watching a drunk chase a balloon. It was hilarious at times. I mean, just could not get to grips with the ball at any point in time. I mean, just incapable of doing it. And a few of them on the same kind of boat. I think that's another reason McCallum McGregor. The pitch, I mean, I cannot keep mentioning it. It was a shocker. I mean, it really was. Some of the bounces on the pitch were unbelievable. At one point, I think
Callum McGregor rolled a ball out to Kieran Tierney. It bounced up, hitting the face.
It bounced up, hitting the corner at the bottom of the chin, and took Tierney's head off.
Crazy golf.
That surprised me, boys, right? Because Dundee United, obviously, they know the pitch. They know it's not in good nick. Celtic would have an idea as well. But you've got to kind of adapt to it. Celtic tried to play their game on a pitch that just wasn't suited to it. Dundee United were more streetwise, got the ball into the box, got goals, looked like scoring more. I don't know if you can use the pitch as an excuse.
No, that's not an excuse.
It's not. Well, there's two sides to it. It's not an excuse, Keith. But the other thing is what target man were they going to bypass the midfield and hit early on that part?
Yeah.
That's the problem. They've got no options off. Even you can sometimes hit diagonals for the wide guys to get in behind fullbacks when you're trying not to play through the middle. Celtic don't have anything in the last third. They don't have anything. So that there's no way to mix it up.
No,
there isn't any way to mix it up. What were they going to do? Start trying to use Iheanacho as a target man? They're just not going to do it.
No, Iheanacho as a guy playing at his feet. That's the only way he can play. I mean, you look at Adamu on the bench, but Adamu he played up front and they went long against Rangers and never won a header.
Well, that happened today as well, didn't it? When Celtic did try and go long into Iheanacho, the Dundee United centre-halves were just mopping it all up.
It's feeding buns to an elephant. So it's didn't have that option in their locker.